This program is about unsolved mysteries. Whenever possible, the actual family members and police officials have participated in recreating the events. What you're about to see is not a news broadcast. In this episode of Unsolved Mysteries, an owner of an independent bookstore is murdered in cold blood. A beloved athlete is dead after a mysterious car accident. A refinery worker is killed during a routine checkup. A skydiving incident goes horribly wrong for a man who was an instructor. An unidentified flying object was spotted near a telecom plant. And finally, a ghostly apparition haunts the residents of this small railroad town. Next on Unsolved Mysteries. In our first story, an owner of an independent bookstore is killed in broad daylight. Police are scrambling for clues as to the perp and motive in this case. The local media suspects a hire for murder is the case here because of the bookstore cutting into the profits of a bigger retailer nearby, Barnes & Noble. Yes, Noble isn't plural. So far, the video surveillance evidence does not show the killer on camera, and no connections have been made between the bookstore giant and this devious plot other than pure media speculation. The bookstore is beloved by residents for how they treated the customers and the super low prices compared to B&N. All of the future book signings and events at the location are currently postponed or canceled altogether. If you have any information about this case, please leave it down in the comments section. In a scene that harkens memories of Princess Diana, a beloved baseball player was killed after being in a car accident whilst speeding away from reporters. The post-game interview was not aired on television, and the media was accusing the player of being drunk while blowing the game in question on the night of, since his words were slurred like an episode of Honey Boo Boo. This leads police to begin an autopsy and toxicology test on the body to determine if alcohol was a factor in the accident. The team, however, is protesting against the media and paparazzi for trying to chase down the player for further questioning. The league is also under heavy fire and claims that this is related to buzz driving via tobacco usage. Many anti-dip advocates are trying to use it as leverage in getting the chewing substance banned from the league because apparently it encourages kids to do it. As of now, the next game for this team has been canceled while this mess is sorted out. Again, if you have any information about this case, please leave it down in the comments section. An oil company is mired in scandal. Big surprise there. When a worker was found dead from apparent burns and smoke inhalation while performing a routine checkup. The company claims an accident, but conspiracy theorists are running wild on this one. There has been email evidence found suggesting that the worker was torn between being loyal to the employer and being a whistleblower and exposing harmful substances that were used while this gas was being processed. This substance would increase America's dependency on oil by having gas burn faster than even the regular octane 87 at your local pumps, thus giving the company more profit at the expense of the health risks involved. Of course, these accusations have been denied, but many people think the quote-unquote accident was to keep his mouth shut about exposing the nefarious actions. The oil company hopes that it could take the millions in subsidies to buy some good lawyering. If you have any information about this case, please leave it down in the comments section. This skydiving instructor is actually doing what he loves for fun instead of getting paid for it when something went horribly wrong. The investigation into the accident hasn't concluded yet, but many are crying murder cover-up due to an insurance clause in the will of the instructor. Many claim that the now estranged wife of the victim paid off the pilot of the plane to purposefully make the victim's parachute malfunction so that he would be killed in an accident and the extremely successful entrepreneur would have his money bequeathed to her. The official cause of death is blunt force trauma, and the landing being astray due to the abnormally high winds that were unaccounted for. The family is torn apart over the circumstances of his death. If you have any information about this case, please leave it down in the comments section. Many of us dream of a white picket fence, but surrounding a house in the burbs, not suspended in midair. This was the scene near a telecom plant which uses its huge satellite to capture possible extraterrestrial transmissions. Was this fence-like object a scout sent by beings in another galaxy? Was this an unaccounted for drone that hovers in the skies above? Because we all know America has got way too many of them to count. These are the questions that are being investigated by the police, but the government has classified many of the documents in regard to plant operations and daily activities. Is this another Area 51 dilemma? If you have any information about this case, please leave it down in the comments section. And finally, in previous episodes, we've discussed the fate of rail workers in this small town, which have died due to the labor stress of being a railroad worker. Now it seems that the apparitions of the men that died have been cropping up at an alarming rate. Many of the residents claim to see and hear mysterious things. We've got the Dead Files crew currently investigating, but of course, the evidence that they find isn't cause for an actual verdict. Could these railroad workers be trying to warn fellow employees of the sicknesses that will inevitably take their lives? Can these ghostly figures be explained by scientific means? If you have any information about this or any of the cases here presented today, please leave it down in the comment section and maybe you can help solve a mystery.